The formula tin slipped from Imani's fingers and hit the kitchen counter with a hollow clang that echoed through the tiny apartment. She picked it up, shook it again. Still empty. She turned it upside down over her palm, waiting for a miracle that wouldn't come. Nothing. Rain hammered against the single window. Cold February rain that made the broken radiator feel even worse. Imani's breath came out in small clouds. She'd wrapped Malik in 3 blankets. It wasn't enough. From the second-hand crib in the corner, her 7-month-old son made a sound. Not a cry. Something weaker. That tiny whimper that made her chest hurt because she knew what it meant. He was hungry. She walked to the crib, looked down at him. His eyes were open. Dark eyes that looked too big in his small face. He stared up at her, trusting, waiting for her to fix this. "I know, baby," she whispered. "Mama's gonna figure something out." But what? She'd already checked every cabinet, every shelf, every corner of this apartment. The formula was gone. The food was gone. Everything was gone. Her phone buzzed on the mattress. She didn't want to look. Already knew what it would say. She picked it up anyway. Final notice. Power will be disconnected in 48 hours. Pay immediately or service ends. Another buzz. Eviction warning. Rent payment required within 72 hours or legal proceedings begin. Imani sat down hard on the edge of the mattress. The box spring squeaked. Everything in this place was falling apart. The walls. The furniture. Her life. Malik's whimper got louder. She grabbed her wallet from the counter. Unzipped it even though she already knew. $3.64. She'd counted it 5 times this morning. The quarters were from doing laundry 2 weeks ago. The dollar bills were tips from her shift. Not enough to buy formula. Not enough to buy anything that mattered. She picked up her phone again. Scrolled through her contacts. There weren't many left. Most people had stopped calling after she got fired. Friends disappeared when you couldn't afford to go out. When you couldn't split checks at restaurants. When every conversation turned into an apology for being broke. But there was one name. One person who'd helped before. Miss Delilah. The woman from the shelter on Monument Street. The one with kind eyes and a soft voice who'd given Imani a bag of groceries 3 months ago when things got really bad. She'd also given her a phone number and said, "If you ever need help, you call me. Don't be too proud to ask." Imani had been too proud. Until now. Her thumbs moved across the screen before she could stop herself. Before pride could get in the way of keeping her son alive. "Miss Delilah, I'm so sorry to bother you. I don't have formula for my baby. I just need $50 to get me through until Friday when I get paid. Please." She stared at the message. Read it 3 times. Hated every word. Hated that this was what her life had become. 25 years old and begging strangers for help. Malik's cry got weaker. More desperate. She hit send. The message disappeared. 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. Imani waited. The dots didn't come back. Maybe Miss Delilah was busy. Maybe she'd seen the message and was figuring out how to say no gently. Maybe she'd finally realized that some people couldn't be saved. Imani got up, walked to the crib, picked up Malik. He was lighter than he should be. The doctor at the free clinic had mentioned that last month. Had given her a concerned look and said something about monitoring his weight. As if Imani didn't know. As if she wasn't trying. She bounced him gently. Hummed a song her grandmother used to sing back when she still had a grandmother. Back when she still had family. Back when the world made sense. The rain kept falling. The apartment kept getting colder. Malik kept crying. And Imani kept hoping that somebody, somewhere, would answer. Across the city, on the 20th floor of a glass tower overlooking Baltimore's Inner Harbor, Seo Junho stood at the window with his hands clasped behind his back. The rain looked different from up here. Almost beautiful. Like something in a movie instead of the cold reality it was on the streets below. His office was all sharp edges and expensive materials. Glass desk, leather chairs, steel accents, no photos, no personal items, nothing that said a human being worked here. Just a space for business. Behind him, two men in black suits stood near the door. Silent. Still. Waiting for orders. They'd learned not to speak unless spoken to. Junho had trained them well over the years. Security monitors lined one wall, showing feeds from operations across 3 cities. Shipping docks. Warehouses. Money moving through accounts that didn't officially exist. The White Serpent Syndicate. His empire. Built from nothing over 15 years. Shipping routes up and down the East Coast. Money laundering through legitimate businesses. Underground operations that the law couldn't touch because they operated in the spaces between legal and illegal. And Junho controlled all of it. His phone buzzed on the desk. He ignored it. Phones buzzed constantly in his line of work. Messages from operations. Reports from the field. Problems that needed solving. Money that needed moving. It buzzed again. Junho turned from the window. Walked to his desk. The leather soles of his shoes made no sound on the polished floor. He picked up the phone. Unknown number. He almost deleted it. Unknown numbers usually meant wrong numbers or scams. Neither was worth his time. But something made him open it. Miss Delilah, I'm so sorry to bother you. I don't have formula for my baby. I just need $50 to get me through until Friday when I get paid. Please. Before this story begins, I want you to do something real quick. Like this video, not for me, but because this story deserves to be seen by more people. And subscribe right now, because this is not a one-part story. What happens later will connect to future episodes, and if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss the most important parts. Also, tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because by the end of the story, you won't be the same person who started it. Junho read it once, then again, then a third time. The office suddenly felt smaller. The rain against the windows suddenly too loud. The past suddenly too close. He was 11 years old again, standing in a cramped apartment in Busan, watching his mother stare at an empty rice jar, watching her cry because she'd worked 3 jobs that week and still couldn't feed her 2 sons, watching her apologize like poverty was her fault. His younger brother Minjun had been sick with a fever that wouldn't break. They couldn't afford medicine, couldn't afford a doctor. His mother had begged neighbors for help, had called relatives who never answered, had prayed to gods who stayed silent. Minjun died 2 weeks later in their apartment, in Junho's arms. 6 years old. Their mother followed him 6 months after that, worked herself to death trying to keep Junho alive. Junho had been 12 when he buried her. 12 when he decided he'd never be that powerless again. Never be that poor. Never watch someone he cared about suffer because he didn't have enough. He stared at the message. A wrong number. A stranger's problem. Someone else's desperation. But also a mother begging for help that might not come. A hungry baby. A future that looked like his past. Sir, one of the men behind him spoke. Choi. Early 30s. Korean American. Loyal. Smart. He'd been with Junho for 8 years. Trace this number, Junho said quietly. Choi pulled out a tablet. Sir, the number that just texted me. I want to know who it belongs to. Where they are. Everything. May I ask why? No. Choi's fingers moved across the screen. He had connections. People who could find information that didn't want to be found. It took him less than 5 minutes. Imani Carter. 25 years old. African American. Lives in East Baltimore near the Port District. Single mother. 1 child. Infant. Male. Junho's jaw tightened. Employment. Currently works night shift at a laundromat on Fayette Street. Before that, she was a shipping compliance analyst. Where? Choi scrolled. Atlantic Meridian Group. Worked there for 2 years. Fired 6 months ago. Everything stopped. Junho looked up sharply. Say that again. Atlantic Meridian Group. She was fired 6 months ago. No severance. Escorted out by security. All digital access revoked immediately. Atlantic Meridian Group. One of Junho's shipping companies. One of the fronts the White Serpent Syndicate used to move cargo through the port without attracting attention. Legal on paper. Less legal in practice. Someone who worked there. Someone who got fired. Someone who was now desperate and texting strangers for help. This wasn't a coincidence. Why was she fired? Junho asked. Choi scrolled more. Personnel file says budget cuts. But there's a flag on her termination. What kind of flag? The kind that means someone wanted her gone quietly. Junho walked back to the window. Stared down at the city. Somewhere down there, a mother was trying to feed her child. A mother who used to work for him. A mother who'd been fired for reasons that didn't add up. What else? No criminal record. No debt beyond normal bills. Before she was fired, she had good credit. Savings account. Paid rent on time. Then 6 months ago, everything collapsed. She's behind on everything now. Rent. Utilities. Medical bills for the baby. Family? None listed. Parents deceased. No siblings. No emergency contacts in her employment file. Alone. Broke. Desperate. Just like his mother had been. Junho made a decision. The kind that didn't make business sense. The kind that Choi would never understand. The kind that was probably stupid and definitely dangerous. Prepare the car, he said. Choi looked up. Sir, I'm going to see her. Sir, we have the meeting with the Baltimore suppliers in 2 hours. They've been waiting 3 weeks. Cancel it. Sir, if we cancel again, they might. Cancel it. Junho's voice was quiet. Cold. Reschedule for tomorrow. Tell them something came up. Choi knew better than to argue. Yes, sir. Should I come with you? You and 2 others. But you wait in the car. I go in alone. Sir, we don't know this neighborhood. It might not be safe. I'll be fine. At least let me run security on the building first. Make sure. Choi. Junho turned from the window. I'm going to help a woman feed her baby. I don't need tactical support for that. 20 minutes later, Junho was in the back of a black SUV. Choi drove. 2 other men sat in front. All of them armed. All of them confused about why the leader of the White Serpent Syndicate was driving into East Baltimore on a Tuesday afternoon to visit a woman he'd never met. Junho didn't explain. He never explained. The SUV pulled into a neighborhood that looked like the city had forgotten it existed. Boarded up windows. Graffiti on every surface. People on corners who watched the expensive car roll past with calculating eyes. They stopped in front of a building that leaned slightly to the left. 5 stories. Crumbling brick. A fire escape that looked ready to collapse. This is it, Choi said. Apartment 3C. Junho looked up at the building. 3rd floor. 1 window with a light on. Wait here, he said. Sir. Wait here. He got out. The rain hit him immediately. Cold. Relentless. He pulled his coat tighter and walked to the front door. It was unlocked. Broken lock. Anyone could walk in. Dangerous for a woman living alone with a baby. The stairs creaked under his weight. The hallway smelled like mildew and old food. Junho had grown up in places like this. Had sworn he'd never go back. But here he was. Apartment 3C was at the end of the hall. Paint peeling. Number hanging crooked. He knocked 3 times. Silence. Then footsteps. Light. Hesitant. Who is it? A woman's voice. Young. Scared. You sent a message asking for help, Junho said. Silence. Longer this time. I don't know you. No. But I got your message anyway. That was a wrong number. I'm sorry. Please just go. I brought formula. He heard breathing on the other side of the door. Heard the baby crying. That weak, tired sound. How did you find me? She asked. Does it matter? Yes. Fair enough. Junho shifted the bags in his hands. He'd stopped at 3 stores on the way. Formula. Diapers. Baby food. Real food. Everything he could think of. Your message came to my phone. I traced the number. I came to help. That's all. That's not all. Nobody just shows up at a stranger's door with groceries. Not in this city. Smart. Cautious. Good instincts. You're right, Junho said. Nobody does that. But I did. So you can either open this door and let me give you these bags, or I can leave them in the hallway and walk away. Your choice. The baby's crying got louder. The door cracked open. Chain still on. A slice of light spilled into the hall. Junho could see part of a face. Young. Black. Exhausted. Eyes that had seen too much too fast. He held up the bags. Formula. Diapers. Food. No strings attached. She stared at the bags. At him. At the bags again. Who are you? Someone who got your message. Someone who knows what it's like to go hungry. She closed the door. He heard the chain slide. Then the door opened fully. The woman standing there was smaller than he expected. Maybe 5'4". Thin. Too thin. Wearing sweatpants and an oversized shirt. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Just exhaustion written across her face. Behind her, the apartment was tiny. 1 room. Mattress on the floor. Crib in the corner. Kitchen that was barely a kitchen. Water stains on the ceiling. Cracks in the walls. Come in, she said quietly. Before someone sees you and decides to rob you. Junho stepped inside. She closed the door. Locked it. Chain back on. They stood there in awkward silence. The baby kept crying. Junho set the bags on the counter. Started unpacking. Formula first. 3 large cans. Then diapers. Then baby food. Then real food. Bread. Eggs. Milk. Chicken. Rice. The woman watched him. Didn't speak. Didn't move. When he was done, the counter was covered with more food than she'd probably seen in months. I don't understand, she finally said. You don't have to. Yes, I do. People don't just help. Not like this. Not without wanting something. Junho turned to face her. What's your son's name? She blinked. What? Your son. What's his name? Malik. How old? 7 months. Junho nodded. Looked at the crib. May I? He gestured to the formula. She hesitated. Then nodded. Junho opened a can. Found a bottle on the counter. Made it the way his mother had taught him 25 years ago. Water. Powder. Mix. Test the temperature. He handed it to her. She took it. Walked to the crib. Picked up Malik. Sat on the mattress. Started feeding him. The apartment went quiet except for the sound of the baby drinking. Desperate. Hungry. Alive. Junho stood by the window. Looked out at the rain. Thank you, she said quietly. Junho didn't turn around. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. No. You needed help. I helped. That's all. That's not all. You could have ignored the message. Could have blocked my number. Could have done nothing. But you came. Why? Junho was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, because someone should have come for my mother. And no one did. The words hung in the small apartment. The woman didn't respond. Just kept feeding her son. Junho turned from the window. What's your name? Imani. Imani. He tested the name. I'm Junho. Korean? Yes. You don't sound Korean. I've been here a long time. She almost smiled. You're not good at answering questions. No, I'm not. Malik finished the bottle. His eyes fluttered closed. Full belly. Safe. For now. Imani laid him back in the crib. covered him with a thin blanket. Then she turned to Junho. Why are you really here? I told you. No. I heard what you told me. But that's not everything. Nobody drives to East Baltimore in the rain on a Tuesday to help a stranger. So why are you really here? Junho studied her. Smart. Perceptive. The kind of person who saw through lies. You used to work for Atlantic Meridian Group, he said. Her face went pale. How do you know that? I know a lot of things. Are you a cop? No. Then what? Someone who needs to know why you were fired. Imani took a step back. I don't understand. Your message came to me. I traced your number. Found out who you were. Found out where you worked. Found out you were fired 6 months ago. Junho took a step closer. I own Atlantic Meridian Group. The color drained from her face completely. You own it? Yes. Imani sat down on her mattress. Her hands were shaking. I don't understand. You own the company that fired me. And you came here to bring me groceries. Why? Because someone fired you. Someone who works for me. And I want to know why. It was budget cuts. That's what they said. I don't believe that. Why not? Because people who get fired for budget cuts get severance. Get recommendation letters. You got walked out by security. That's not budget cuts. That's someone who wanted you gone fast. Imani's hands were shaking harder now. I don't want trouble. I'm not trouble. Junho crouched down so they were eye level. Tell me why you were really fired. She stared at him. Scared. Confused. But also something else. Like maybe she'd been waiting to tell someone. Anyone. For 6 months. I started noticing things, she said quietly. Junho went very still. What kind of things? Discrepancies in the shipping records. Cargo weights that didn't match the listed contents. Containers that got rerouted to different warehouses. Digital records that didn't match the hard copies I was filing. And you reported this? To my supervisor, Roger Brennan. I showed him everything. Asked what I should do. He said he'd look into it. Said it was probably just clerical errors. And then you were fired. 1 week later, security showed up at my desk during lunch. Told me I was being let go effective immediately. Took my laptop. Took my badge. Took my access card. Walked me out in front of everyone. Her voice cracked. I didn't even get to say goodbye to anyone. Junho stood. Walked to the window. His mind was racing. Someone in his organization was moving cargo without authorization. Someone was altering records. Someone was using the White Serpent Syndicate's infrastructure for their own operations. And when Imani found out, they got rid of her. This supervisor, Roger Brennan. Where is he now? I don't know. I tried to contact him after I was fired. His number didn't work. His email bounced. His LinkedIn disappeared. It's like he just vanished. Junho pulled out his phone. Texted Choi. Find Roger Brennan. Former supervisor at Atlantic Meridian. Last employment 6 months ago. Location by morning. The response came back immediately. Yes, sir. Junho turned back to Imani. I need your help. With what? Finding out who's stealing from me. You saw the discrepancies. You know what to look for. I need you to help me trace them back to whoever's running this operation. I don't work for you anymore. I'm offering you a job. I don't want a job. I'm offering you $10,000. The number hung in the air. Imani's eyes went wide. 10,000. Yes. For what? For helping me find who's running illegal operations through my company. For using your knowledge of the shipping systems. For identifying the patterns you noticed. I'm not a detective. You're better. You already found the problem once. That's why they fired you. You were too good at your job. Imani stood up. Started pacing the tiny apartment. This is crazy. This is business. This is dangerous. Yes. I have a son. I know. I can't put him at risk. You won't. I'll protect both of you. How? You don't even know me. I don't have to know you to keep you safe. I just have to want to. Junho looked at her directly. And I want to. Imani stopped pacing. Why? Because someone should have protected my mother. And no one did. So now I protect people who can't protect themselves. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She looked at Malik sleeping in his crib. Looked at the food on the counter. Looked at her phone with its overdue notices. Looked at the eviction warning on the table. If I do this, you protect my son. No matter what happens. That's not negotiable. Done. And you pay me half up front. Junho almost smiled. Smart. Yes. And when this is over, you leave us alone. No strings. No obligations. No coming back. Agreed. Imani took a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Okay. I'll help you. Junho nodded. Pulled out his phone. Made a transfer. Check your account. Imani grabbed her phone. Opened her banking app. Stared at the screen. Her hands started shaking. $5,000 had just appeared. Oh my God. That's half. You get the rest when we find who's behind this. She couldn't stop staring at the number. More money than she'd ever had at one time. More money than she knew what to do with. When do we start? She asked. Tomorrow night. I'll send a car. 8 o'clock. Bring anything you remember about the discrepancies. Notes. Files. Anything. They took everything when they fired me. Then bring your memory. That's more valuable anyway. Junho walked to the door. Opened it. Paused. Imani. Yes. Don't tell anyone about this. Not friends. Not family. No one. I don't have friends or family. Something flickered in his eyes. Understanding. Recognition. Good. That makes this easier. He left. The door closed behind him. Imani stood in her tiny apartment, surrounded by food, with $5,000 in her account, and a deal with a man who was either saving her life or destroying it. She looked at Malik sleeping peacefully in his crib. I'm sorry, baby, she whispered. I'm so sorry. But sorry didn't change anything. Sorry didn't keep them safe. Sorry didn't pay the bills. She'd made her choice. Now she had to live with it. The next evening, Imani stood outside her building at exactly 8 o'clock. Mrs. Kim from apartment 2B was watching Malik. Imani had paid her $100, double the usual rate. Told her she had a job interview that might run late. Mrs. Kim hadn't asked questions. That was one of the things Imani liked about her. A black SUV pulled up. Tinted windows. Expensive. The kind of car that didn't belong in this neighborhood. The back door opened. Junho sat in the rear seat wearing a dark suit. Get in. Imani climbed in. The door closed automatically. Locks clicked. The interior smelled like leather and something expensive. Clean. New. Nothing like her life. Another man sat in the driver's seat. Korean. Early 30s. He didn't turn around. Didn't speak. This is Choi, Junho said. He works for me. You can trust him. The car started moving. Away from her neighborhood. Toward downtown. Toward the harbor. Toward a part of the city Imani had only ever seen from a distance. Where are we going? She asked. My office. We need to review the shipping records. See if we can identify the patterns you noticed. They drove in silence for a while. Imani watched the city change through the window. From poor to less poor to actually nice. Buildings that weren't falling apart. Streets that didn't have trash everywhere. People who looked like they had futures. Nervous? Junho asked. Should I be? No. Then why'd you ask? Because you look nervous. I am nervous. I'm in a car with a man I don't know, going to look at records for a company that fired me to help find criminals who might want me dead. So yeah, I'm nervous. Junho's expression didn't change. Fair enough. They arrived at a glass tower that Imani had never been inside. Security guards at the desk. Marble floors. The kind of place where people made decisions that affected thousands of lives. The elevator took them to the 20th floor. All glass. All city lights. All power. Junho's office was exactly what she expected. Expensive. Clean. Impersonal. 3 monitors on a desk. Files stacked perfectly. Everything organized. Sit, he said, gesturing to a chair next to his desk. Imani sat. Junho sat beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, feel the heat from his body. He pulled up files on the monitors. Shipping records. Manifests. Container IDs. Numbers and codes that would mean nothing to most people. But not to Imani. She'd spent 2 years swimming in these numbers. Start with 6 months ago, Junho said. Right before you were fired. What did you notice first? Imani leaned forward, stared at the screen. The data was familiar. Like seeing an old friend. Or an old enemy. There, she said, pointing. Container KC 4471. Listed as construction equipment. Departing from Busan, Korea. Arriving in Baltimore. What's wrong with it? The weight. Construction equipment of that size should weigh at least 12 tons. This says 8. Junho clicked through more screens. It arrived in Baltimore on schedule, then got rerouted 2 days later to a warehouse in Camden. Who authorized the reroute? Junho pulled up authorization logs, stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. Roger Brennan. Your supervisor. Keep going. There are more. They worked for 2 hours. Finding containers. Tracing routes. Building a pattern. Imani pointed. Clicked. Explained. Junho listened. Asked questions. Made notes. At some point, coffee appeared. Choi had brought it without being asked. Set it down quietly. Left. You're good at this, Junho said. I was good at my job. Before I got fired for doing it. You got fired for being too good at it. Imani took a sip of coffee. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No. It's supposed to make you understand what happened. You found something you weren't supposed to find. So they removed you. They destroyed my life. Yes, they did. The honesty in his voice surprised her. No platitudes. No false comfort. Just acknowledgement. Why are you helping me? She asked. Junho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because no one helped my mother. And I watched her die trying to survive. So now when I see someone drowning, I throw them a rope. Even if it's selfish. How is it selfish? Because it makes me feel less guilty about all the people I didn't save. Imani stared at him. This man with dead eyes and expensive suits who moved through the world like a shark. This man who'd shown up at her door with groceries. This man who was both dangerous and kind in ways that didn't make sense. You're not what I expected, she said. What did you expect? I don't know. Someone colder. Someone who cared less. I am cold. And I do care less. About most things. He looked at her. But not about everything. Their eyes met. Held. Something passed between them. Something unspoken. Something dangerous. Junho looked away first. Let's keep working. They found 12 containers over 3 months. All underweight. All rerouted. All authorized by Roger Brennan. But there was something else. Something Imani hadn't noticed before because she'd never had access to the full system. Look at this, she said, pointing at a secondary signature buried in the digital logs. Every reroute has 2 authorizations. Roger's is the first. But there's a second one. See it? Junho leaned closer. So close their shoulders touched. Marcus Vane, he said. The name came out cold. Hard. Who's that? Imani asked. Junho didn't answer for a moment. Just stared at the name on the screen. My partner, he finally said. My American partner. He runs East Coast operations for the White Serpent Syndicate. Imani turned to look at him. Your partner is stealing from you? It appears so. What are you going to do? Junho pulled out his phone. Made a call. Spoke in Korean. Fast. Angry. Words that sounded like threats even though Imani couldn't understand them. He hung up, looked at her. We need to find Roger Brennan. Why? Because he's the key to proving Marcus is behind this. And because I need to know exactly what they've been moving through my company. It was after midnight when they finished. Junho drove Imani home himself. Choi had left hours ago with the other men. The car was quiet. Just the sound of rain on the windshield. The city sliding past outside. Thank you, Imani said. For tonight. For helping me understand what happened. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. 6 months ago, my whole life fell apart, and I didn't know why. Now I do. That matters. Junho pulled up outside her building. Put the car in park. Didn't look at her. Be careful, Imani. Of what? Of this. Of me. Of what we're doing. Once you're in this world, it's hard to get out. I'm already in it. The moment they fired me, I was in it. No. You were adjacent to it. Now you're helping me. That's different. That's dangerous. Imani opened the door. Stopped. Looked back. Are you trying to scare me? I'm trying to be honest. Then here's my honesty. I have nothing left to lose. My life was already destroyed. So if helping you means I get answers, get justice, get paid, then I'll take that risk. Junho finally looked at her. You have Malik. That's not nothing. That's exactly why I'm doing this. So he has a future. So he doesn't grow up the way I did. So he has more than I ever had. She got out. Closed the door. Walked into her building without looking back. Junho sat in the car. Watched her disappear. Then he pulled away. And tried not to think about how much he wanted to follow her. Over the next week, Imani came to Junho's office every night. They worked late. Traced patterns. Built evidence. And somewhere between the spreadsheets and the coffee cups, something shifted. It started small. Junho's hand brushing hers when he passed her documents. Imani's laugh when he made a dry observation about Marcus's sloppiness. The way they'd sit closer each night. The way the silence between them became comfortable instead of awkward. One night, Imani fell asleep at the desk. Head down on her arms. Exhausted. Junho stood. Got his coat. Draped it over her shoulders. She stirred. Looked up. Eyes still half closed. What time is it? Late. You should go home. Can't. Too tired to move. Then sleep. Here. There's a couch in the next room. It's comfortable. Imani stood. Swayed slightly. Junho caught her elbow. Easy. I'm fine. You're exhausted. Same thing. He led her to the next room. A small lounge area. Leather couch. Soft lighting. She collapsed onto it. Thank you, she mumbled. Junho grabbed a blanket from the closet. Covered her with it. Sleep. I'll wake you in a few hours. But he didn't wake her. He let her sleep until morning. And when she woke up, there was coffee on the table. Still hot. Fresh pastries from the bakery downstairs. And a note. You needed the rest. Take the car service home. J.H. Imani stared at the note. At the careful handwriting. At this small kindness from a man who claimed to be cold. And she felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. Another night, they were going through financial records. Tracing payments. Finding connections. This is tedious, Imani said. This is investigation. Same thing. Junho almost smiled. You sound like Choi. Is that a compliment? From me? Yes. Imani leaned back in her chair. Stretched. Tell me something. What? Something real. Something that's not about shipping manifests or cargo weights or criminal enterprise. Junho was quiet. Then he said, What do you want to know? I don't know. Something human. Something that reminds me you're not just a crime boss in an expensive suit. I am a crime boss in an expensive suit. You're also the man who made formula for my son. Who brought me groceries. Who's paying me to help you even though you could have just forced me to cooperate. Junho turned to face her. What do you want me to say? Tell me about your mother. The question landed between them. Heavy. Junho looked away. Why? Because you mentioned her the first night. And I've been wondering about her ever since. He was quiet for so long Imani thought he wouldn't answer. Then he said, she worked 3 jobs. Cleaning offices. Factory work. Selling things in the market. She never slept more than 4 hours a night. Never complained. Never asked for help. Why not? Pride. Fear. Culture. All of it. She thought asking for help meant she'd failed. So she kept working. Kept trying. Kept believing that if she just worked hard enough, everything would be okay. But it wasn't. No. My brother got sick. Pneumonia. We couldn't afford a doctor. She begged everyone she knew for money. No one helped. He died 2 weeks later. In our apartment. In my arms. Imani's throat tightened. I'm so sorry. She followed him 6 months after that. Worked herself to death. Heart attack at 39. Right there in the factory. Collapsed at her station. Was dead before anyone found her. How old were you? 12. 12. The age when childhood should still exist. When mothers should be invincible. When the world should still make sense. What did you do? Survived. That's what you do when there's no other choice. You survive. Imani reached across the desk. Took his hand. He didn't pull away. I'm glad you survived, she said quietly. So am I. Most days. They sat like that for a while. Hand in hand. 2 people who understood loss in ways most people never would. Then Junho pulled away gently. We should keep working. Yeah, we should. But something had changed. Some wall had come down. Some truth had been spoken. And neither of them could pretend it hadn't happened. Another night. Late. They were both tired. Both frustrated. The investigation was moving too slowly. This is impossible, Imani said. We're never going to find enough evidence. Yes, we will. How can you be sure? Because Marcus got sloppy. And sloppy people always leave trails. Imani rubbed her eyes. I'm too tired to think. Then don't think. Just look. That's not how brains work. Junho stood. Walked around the desk. Held out his hand. Come on. Where? Roof. Fresh air. Clear your head. They took the elevator to the top floor. Then the stairs to the roof access. The city spread out below them. Lights everywhere. The harbor in the distance. The rain had stopped. The air was cold and clean. Better? Junho asked. Yeah, better. They stood at the edge, looking out at Baltimore. Do you ever regret it? Imani asked. Regret what? This life. This world. The choices you made to get here. Junho was quiet. Then he said, every day. And never. It depends on when you ask me. I'm asking now. Then no. I don't regret it. Because this life kept me alive. Gave me power. Gave me control. Made sure I'd never be that powerless 12-year-old again. But sometimes I wonder what I could have been if I'd chosen differently. If I'd been someone else. Like what? I don't know. Someone normal. Someone who sleeps at night. Someone who doesn't have to check for enemies every time he enters a room. Imani looked at him. At his profile against the city lights. At the man who carried so much weight it should have crushed him. You're not as bad as you think you are, she said. You don't know what I've done. No. But I know what you're doing now. And that counts for something. Junho turned to face her. You're too kind, Imani. And you're too hard on yourself. One of us has to be realistic. And one of us has to have hope. They stared at each other. 6 inches apart. The world falling away. Junho reached out. Brushed a strand of hair from her face. You should go home. It's late. I know. But neither of them moved. Imani. Yeah. This is dangerous. I know. Not just the investigation. This. Us. Whatever this is becoming. I know that too. And you're still standing here. So are you. Junho's hand moved to her cheek. Gentle. Careful. Like she might break. I don't know how to do this, he said quietly. Do what? Care about someone. Let someone in. Be something other than what I am. Then don't be something other than what you are. Just be yourself. With me. Myself is dangerous. I'm not scared of you. You should be. But I'm not. Junho leaned closer. Close enough that she could feel his breath. Could see the war happening behind his eyes. If I do this, everything changes, he said. Things already changed. The moment you knocked on my door. The moment I said yes. We're already in this. Then God help us both. He kissed her. Soft. Tentative. Like he'd forgotten how human contact worked. Like he was asking permission even though he'd already started. Imani kissed him back. Harder. Desperate. Like she needed proof he was real. Like she needed to feel something other than fear and exhaustion and the weight of surviving. When they pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. That was stupid, she said. Yes. We shouldn't do that again. No. But we will. Probably. She laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time in what felt like years. Junho smiled. Not the cold, calculated smile he used in meetings. But something real. Something genuine. Something human. Come on, he said. I'll take you home. They rode down in the elevator. Silent. But holding hands. And both of them knew. Whatever this was, whatever they were becoming, it was dangerous and stupid and inevitable. And neither of them could stop it. 3 days later, Choi found Roger Brennan. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Living in a beachfront condo. Paid in cash. $300,000. Junho didn't waste time. He sent 2 men to bring Roger back to Baltimore. No police. No lawyers. No questions. Just muscle. Roger arrived at one of Junho's warehouses on a Friday night. Hands tied behind his back. Face bruised. Shirt torn. Terrified. Junho stood in front of him in the empty warehouse. Calm. Cold. Dangerous. 2 of his men flanked Roger. Choi stood off to the side. Watching. Waiting. Imani was there too. Junho had called her. Told her they'd found Roger. Asked if she wanted to be there when he talked. She'd said yes without hesitation. Now she stood in the shadows. Watching. Heart pounding. You're going to tell me everything, Junho said quietly. Roger shook his head. His whole body was shaking. I don't know anything. I swear. I don't know anything. Wrong answer. Junho nodded to one of his men. The man stepped forward. Grabbed Roger's right hand. Held it flat against the metal table. Wait. Wait. The man brought a hammer down. Not hard enough to break bones. Just hard enough to make Roger scream. Imani flinched. Her stomach turned. But she didn't look away. This was what justice looked like in Junho's world. Let's try again, Junho said. His voice was still quiet. Still calm. Who are you working for? Roger was crying now. Snot running down his face. Marcus. Marcus Vane. He paid me. He paid me to look the other way. Look the other way while what? While he moved shipments. Containers that weren't in the system. Cargo that wasn't listed. What kind of cargo? I don't know. He didn't tell me. Pills maybe. Drugs. I don't know. He just paid me to authorize the reroutes and keep my mouth shut. Junho crouched down. Eye level with Roger. And when Imani Carter started asking questions, Roger's eyes went wide. How do you answer the question? He told me to fire her. Said she was getting too close. Said if I didn't get rid of her, he'd get rid of me. Did he say anything else about her? No. I swear. He just said fire her and make it clean. So I did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Junho stood. Looked at Imani. Do you want to ask him anything? Imani stepped out of the shadows. Walked closer. Stared at the man who'd destroyed her life. Roger looked at her. His eyes went even wider. Imani. Oh God. Imani, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do it. He made me. He threatened me. I had no choice. Everyone has a choice, Imani said quietly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Why did Marcus want the containers rerouted? I don't know. I swear. He never told me what was in them. Just said they were his operation and I needed to authorize their reroutes. Where were they going? Warehouses in Camden. 3 of them. That's all I know. Imani stared at him. This pathetic man. This coward. This person who'd taken the easy money and destroyed her in the process. I had a son, she said. 7 months old. I couldn't feed him because of what you did. I couldn't pay my rent. I almost lost everything. Because you were too scared to stand up to Marcus. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Your sorry doesn't change what happened. I know. I know. But please. Please understand. I was scared. He said he'd kill me if I didn't cooperate. What was I supposed to do? You were supposed to be brave. You were supposed to do the right thing. You were supposed to not destroy an innocent person's life to save your own skin. Roger was sobbing now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Imani turned away. I'm done with him. Junho nodded. Looked at Choi. Take him somewhere secure. Keep him alive. We'll need him to testify about Marcus. Testify. Roger's head snapped up. Testify where? To who? To me. To Marcus. To whoever needs to hear the truth. They dragged Roger away. Still crying. Still begging. Imani stood in the empty warehouse. Shaking. Junho walked over. Stood next to her. Didn't touch her. Just stood there. Are you okay? He asked. No. Do you want to leave? Yes. They walked to his car. Got in. Drove in silence. After a while, Imani said, Is that what you do? When people cross you? Yes. Does it get easier? No. It gets necessary. That's a terrible answer. It's an honest one. They pulled up outside her building. Imani didn't get out. Thank you, she said. For letting me be there. For letting me confront him. You deserve to see him face consequences. In your world. Yes. In my world. And if I want him to face consequences in the real world? In court. Junho was quiet. Then he said, we'd have to turn over evidence. Which would expose my operations. Which would put me in prison. Which would leave you unprotected from whoever else is involved in this. So no. The real world doesn't get to have Roger. My world keeps him. Imani nodded slowly. So this is justice in your world. Yes. And I'm part of your world now. Yes. She got out of the car. Leaned back in through the window. I don't know if I can live with that, Junho. Then you should walk away. Before this gets worse. Before you're in too deep. What if I'm already in too deep? Then God help us both. She walked inside. Left him sitting there. And both of them knew. The point of no return had already passed. They just hadn't admitted it yet. The next night, Imani left the laundromat at 11:45. Her shift had been brutal. 8 hours of folding other people's clothes. Of pretending she wasn't exhausted. Of pretending her life was normal. Malik was with Mrs. Kim. Imani had texted her an hour ago. Said she'd be home by midnight. The street was empty. Dark. The kind of dark that made you walk faster. Imani adjusted her purse. Kept her head down. Moved quickly. She'd walked this route 100 times. Knew every crack in the sidewalk. Every broken streetlight. Every shadow. She was 2 blocks from her building when the car pulled up. Black SUV. Expensive. Not Junho's. She'd learned to recognize his. The doors opened. 2 men got out. Imani's heart started racing. She kept walking. Faster now. Imani Carter? She didn't respond. Didn't look back. Just walked. Footsteps behind her. Getting closer. Imani Carter. We need to talk. She broke into a run. A hand grabbed her arm, pulled her back. Hard. She screamed. Tried to pull away. Shut up. The voice was cold. Dangerous. You should have stopped asking questions. Imani twisted. Fought. The man's grip tightened. The second man moved to her other side. Grabbed her other arm. They started dragging her toward the SUV. Imani kicked. Screamed again. But the street was empty. No one to hear. No one to help. Get in the car. No. Get in the car or we hurt you right here. The first man reached for something on his belt. A gun. Imani's blood went cold. This was it. This was how it ended. In a dark street. Alone. Dragged into an SUV by men she didn't know. Because she'd asked questions. Because she'd helped Junho. Because she'd been stupid enough to think she could survive this world. The man raised the gun. Then headlights. Bright. Blinding. Another car pulled up. Fast. Screeching to a stop. Doors opened. Men poured out. Junho's men. Choi in front. Let her go. The two men froze. This doesn't concern you, the first man said. Everything concerning her concerns us. Back off or this gets messy. Choi pulled his gun. The men behind him did the same. 6 guns aimed at 2 men. It's already messy. Now let her go. The first man looked at the second. Some silent communication. Then they dropped Imani's arms. Backed toward their SUV. This isn't over, the first man said. Yes, it is. They got in their car. Pulled away. Disappeared into the night. Imani stood there. Shaking. Her legs wouldn't hold her. She collapsed. Choi caught her. I've got you. You're safe. You're okay. But she wasn't okay. She was terrified. She was shaking so hard her teeth were chattering. Another car pulled up. Junho got out. Ran to her. Imani. He grabbed her face. Made her look at him. Are you hurt? Did they hurt you? She couldn't speak. Couldn't think. Just stared at him. Imani. Talk to me. Are you hurt? No. I don't think so. Junho pulled her into his arms. Held her tight. She could feel him shaking too. Get her in the car, he said to Choi. Now. Get her somewhere safe. They helped her into Junho's car. He got in beside her. Choi drove. Imani couldn't stop shaking. Who were they? She finally asked. I don't know yet. But I will. They knew my name. They were waiting for me. I know. They came for me because of you. Because of this investigation. Because I helped you. Junho's jaw was tight. Yes. Oh God. Oh God, Malik. They know about me. They know about Malik. Malik is safe. I have men watching your building. They've been watching since the first night. He's safe. How did you know I was in trouble? I've had people following you every night after work. Making sure you got home safe. They called when they saw the SUV. I got here as fast as I could. Imani stared at him. You've been having me followed? I've been keeping you protected. There's a difference. You didn't tell me. Would you have agreed to it? No. Then that's why I didn't tell you. Imani wanted to be angry. Wanted to yell at him for invading her privacy. For making decisions without her permission. But she couldn't. Because he'd just saved her life. Thank you, she whispered. Junho pulled her closer. Don't thank me. This is my fault. They came for you because of me. Because I got you involved. Because I put you in danger. I chose to get involved. You didn't know what it would cost. I'm learning. They drove to a different safe house. Not the one in Virginia. Somewhere closer. An apartment in a secure building downtown. Junho got out first. Checked the area. Then helped Imani inside. The apartment was nice. Clean. Anonymous. The kind of place where people disappeared. You'll stay here tonight, Junho said. I'm bringing Malik here too. And Mrs. Kim if she wants to come. No arguments. Okay. I'm doubling security. No one gets in or out without my knowing about it. Okay. And tomorrow, we're going to find out who those men were and who sent them. Okay. Junho stopped. Looked at her. Really looked at her. Are you going to be okay? Imani sat down on the couch. Put her head in her hands. I don't know. Ask me tomorrow. Junho sat down next to her. Pulled her into his arms again. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm so sorry. I should have protected you better. Should have seen this coming. Should have. Should have what? Let me starve? Let Malik go hungry? This isn't your fault. Yes, it is. You were safe before I showed up. Hungry, but safe. Now you're fed, but hunted. So which is better? Starving or running? Neither. Both. I don't know anymore. They sat there in silence, holding each other. Two people caught in something bigger than either of them had anticipated. What happens now? Imani asked. Now we find out who wants you dead. And we make sure they can't try again. And how do we do that? Junho's expression went cold. Hard. Dangerous. We confront Marcus. Tomorrow night. And we make him tell us everything. The next evening, everything was in place. Malik was safe. Mrs. Kim was with him at the apartment. Guards everywhere. Imani was safe too. Or as safe as she could be. She'd insisted on coming to the confrontation. Junho had argued. But she'd been adamant. This started because of me. I deserved to see it through. Now they stood outside a warehouse in Camden. The same warehouse where Marcus stored his shipments. Where the evidence was. Where the truth waited. Last chance to change your mind, Junho said. I'm not changing my mind. It could get violent. I know. You might see things you can't unsee. I already have. Junho nodded. Stay close to me. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood. Understood. They walked inside. Junho's men spread out. 8 of them. All armed. All ready. The warehouse was large. Empty except for some crates and shipping containers. Harsh lights overhead. Concrete floors. The kind of place where bad things happened. At the far end, 3 figures waited. Marcus Vane. Tall. White. Expensive suit. Confident smile. 2 bodyguards flanking him. Junho, Marcus called out. His voice echoed. You brought your pet analyst. How sweet. Junho walked forward. Slowly. Imani stayed 2 steps behind him. We need to talk, Junho said. About what? About your side business. About the containers. About Roger Brennan. About everything you've been doing behind my back. Marcus's smile didn't fade. That's quite an accusation. It's not an accusation. It's fact. We have evidence. We have Roger's testimony. We have everything. Do you now? Marcus looked at Imani. She helped you find all that, didn't she? The little analyst who couldn't let things go. The woman who just had to keep asking questions. Junho's voice went cold. Leave her out of this. Why? She's part of it. She's the reason you found out. She's the reason we're standing here having this conversation. She did her job. That's all. And what a good job she did. Marcus started walking forward. His bodyguards followed, finding discrepancies, noticing patterns, reporting to her supervisor. She was very thorough, almost too thorough, which is why we had to get rid of her. You destroyed her life. We protected our operation. By firing an innocent woman, by leaving her to starve, by removing a threat, which is standard business practice. You'd do the same. No, I wouldn't. Really? The great Junho Seo wouldn't eliminate a threat? That's not what I've heard about you. They were 15 feet apart now. Close enough to see each other clearly. Far enough to draw weapons if needed. I want you to stop, Junho said quietly. Stop what? Stop moving shipments through my company. Stop using my routes. Stop threatening Imani. Stop all of it. Marcus laughed. Or what? Or I shut you down. Permanently. You can't touch me, Junho. I have protection. From who? From people much more powerful than you. Junho went very still. What people? Marcus's smile widened. You really want to know? Yes. Fine. Marcus gestured to Imani. Come here, sweetheart. Come stand where I can see you properly. Stay where you are, Junho said to Imani. I just want to see her up close. The woman who caused all this trouble. The woman who couldn't mind her own business. The woman who's about to learn what happens when you cross the wrong people. Junho pulled his gun, pointed it at Marcus. Say another word about her, and I'll shoot you right here. No, you won't. Because then you'll never learn the truth. Never find out who's really behind this. Never understand just how deep this goes. Junho's finger tightened on the trigger. Tell me. Tell you what? Who you're working for? Who's protecting you? Who's behind this operation? Marcus looked at Imani, then back at Junho. You really care about her, don't you? The great Junho Seo, leader of the White Serpent Syndicate, actually cares about someone. How unexpected. How human. Answer the question. Fine. I'll tell you. But first, he pulled out his phone, showed it to Junho. You should see this. Junho looked at the screen. It was a photo of Imani's apartment building, of the entrance, of Mrs. Kim walking in with Malik in her arms. Taken today. Taken hours ago. We know where she lives, Marcus said. We know where her son sleeps. We know everything. So before you do something stupid, like shooting me, you should understand the consequences. Junho lowered his gun slightly. You touch him and what? You'll kill me? Too late. The orders are already given. Touch me, and my people will visit that building tonight. We'll make sure that single mother and her baby disappear. We'll make you watch while we destroy the only thing you care about. Imani stepped forward. Junho tried to stop her, but she pushed past him. You came after me last night, she said. Your men tried to drag me into a car. Tried to take me. Why? Marcus smiled. Because you're a witness. Because you know too much. Because you helped Junho identify our operations. And because we need you gone. Gone how? Dead? Eventually. But first, we wanted to use you as leverage. To make Junho cooperate. To make him see reason. Reason about what? About joining us. About accepting our partnership. About giving us what we want. Junho stepped forward. What partnership? Marcus's smile got wider. Colder. You think this is just me running some side operation? You think I could move millions of dollars in product without backing? Without protection? Without partners? Who are your partners? The biggest criminal organization on the East Coast. The people who control everything. The people who wanted me to show them what you've built. The people who want to take it. Junho's blood went cold. Say their name. The Covenant. The warehouse went silent. The Covenant. The name everyone in the criminal underworld knew. The name that meant power. Control. Inevitability. The organization no one could fight. No one could beat. No one could escape. You're working with the Covenant, Junho said quietly. Working for them. There's a difference. They approached me 6 months ago. Showed interest in your operation. Your routes. Your infrastructure. They wanted in. So I showed them what you'd built. Showed them how profitable it could be. They loved it. And they sent you to steal from me. They sent me to prove concept. To show them your routes could be used for their product. To demonstrate that your organization could be useful to them. Without my permission. We didn't need your permission. We just needed your infrastructure. Junho raised his gun again. And now? And now they want to meet with you. Want to offer you a partnership. 50-50 split. You keep running the White Serpent Syndicate. They provide protection. Resources. Everyone wins. And if I refuse? Then they take your operation by force. But first they'll destroy everyone you care about. Starting with her. Marcus pointed at Imani. Imani felt sick. This was bigger than Marcus. Bigger than stolen shipments. Bigger than anything she'd imagined. This was about control. About power. About an organization that didn't take no for an answer. When? Junho asked. His voice was flat. Dead. When what? When do they want to meet? Tomorrow night. Georgetown. Private location. Come alone. Or don't come at all. Either way, the Covenant gets what it wants. The only question is whether you survive the process. Marcus turned to leave. His bodyguards followed. At the door, he stopped. Looked back. Oh, and Junho? Bring the girl. They want to meet her too. Want to see the woman who's been helping you. Want to decide whether she lives or dies. Sleep well. He left. The warehouse door slammed shut. Silence. Junho stood there, gun still raised, staring at nothing. Imani walked to him, touched his arm. Junho? He didn't respond, didn't move, just stood there. Junho, talk to me. Finally, he lowered his gun, turned to look at her, and she saw something in his eyes she'd never seen before. Fear. We need to leave, he said. Now. They got in the car. Choi drove. Junho sat in back with Imani. Neither of them spoke. After a while, Imani said, "What's the Covenant?" The most powerful criminal organization in the country. Maybe the world. They control everything. Drugs, weapons, human trafficking, money laundering, politicians, police, judges, everything. And they want your operation. Yes. What are you going to do? Junho was quiet. Then he said, I don't know. Can you fight them? No. Can you run from them? No. So what options do you have? Junho looked at her, and in his eyes she saw the truth. None. I have no options. No way out. No way to win. So you're just going to give up? I'm going to keep you alive. That's what I'm going to do. Whatever it takes. Whatever it costs. I'm going to make sure you and Malik survive this. And you? What about you? I'll do what I've always done. I'll survive. Or I won't. But either way, you'll be safe. They drove to the apartment. Malik was sleeping. Mrs. Kim was watching TV. Junho told her what had happened. Told her about the Covenant. Told her they needed to move. Again. Mrs. Kim just nodded. Where? Somewhere they'll never find us. All of us. You too, if you want to come. I'll come. Someone needs to watch the baby while you two figure this out. They packed. Again. Moved. Again. To another safe house. Deeper. More secure. That night, Imani couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, staring out at nothing. Junho found her there. Can't sleep. No. He stood next to her. Me neither. What happens tomorrow night? She asked. I meet with the Covenant. Hear their offer. Try to negotiate. And if you can't, then I accept their terms. And become their partner. And me? Junho was quiet. Then he said, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. He pulled out a folder. Handed it to her. Imani opened it. Inside were documents. New identities. New social security numbers. New birth certificates. What is this? Your way out. New names. New lives. For you and Malik. You can disappear. Start over. Somewhere they'll never find you. Without you. Yes. Without me. I don't want this. I know. But it's what I'm giving you. A choice. A chance. A future. And what about your future? I don't have one. Not anymore. The moment the Covenant took interest in me, my future ended. Now I just have survival. And the best way I can survive is by making sure you're safe. That Malik is safe. That you both have lives worth living. Imani closed the folder. Set it down. No. Imani. No. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I'm not leaving you to face this alone. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do. And I'm choosing to stay. To fight. To help you find a way out of this. There is no way out. Then we make one. Imani. No. Listen to me. You came to my door when I had nothing. You helped me when no one else would. You protected me. You cared about me. You gave me hope when I had none. So I'm not leaving you. I'm not giving up. I'm staying. And we're going to fight this together. Junho stared at her. You're insane. Maybe. But I'm staying anyway. They'll kill you. They're going to try to kill me anyway. At least this way I go down fighting. Junho pulled her close. Held her. Breathed her in. Why? He whispered. Why would you risk everything for me? Because you did the same for me. And because. She pulled back. Looked at him. Because I care about you. More than I should. More than is smart. But I do. So I'm staying. Junho kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Like she was the only real thing in a world full of lies. When they pulled apart, he said, then we fight. Together. Even if we lose. Even if we lose. They stood there. Holding each other. Two people against an empire. Two people with no options and no way out. But at least they had each other. At least they weren't alone. The next night, they drove to Georgetown. To the restaurant. To the meeting that would decide their fates. Junho brought 6 men. Imani insisted on coming. He'd tried to talk her out of it. She'd refused. You said they want to meet me. So I'm coming. End of discussion. They arrived at 8. The restaurant was expensive. Private. The kind of place where powerful people made decisions. They were led to a back room. Soundproofed. No windows. 3 men waited inside. Americans. All in expensive suits. All radiating power. The man in the center was older. 50s. Gray hair. Dead eyes. Junho Seo, he said. And you must be Imani Carter. We've heard a lot about you. Junho stepped forward. Imani stayed close behind him. You're the Covenant. We represent the Covenant. My name is Vincent Shaw. I handle East Coast operations. What do you want? Shaw smiled. Straight to business. I like that. We want a partnership. 50-50 split on all operations. You keep running the White Serpent Syndicate. We provide protection, resources, connections throughout the country. And if I refuse, then we take your operation by force. But first we make sure you understand what refusal costs. We start with the people you care about. He looked at Imani. Like your pretty analyst here. And her son. Junho's hand moved his gun. I wouldn't, Shaw said. You shoot me and your people get a visit tonight. The mother. The baby. Both gone. Is that what you want? Junho lowered his hand. What do you want from Imani? Nothing. She's just insurance. Proof that we know everything about you. Everyone you care about. Everyone who could be leveraged against you. She's not part of this. She became part of this the moment she helped you identify our operations. Now she's a witness. A threat. Someone who knows too much. So what? You kill her. Shaw smiled. Only if we have to. If you cooperate, she lives. She gets a new identity. A new life. Somewhere safe. Somewhere we'll never touch her. All you have to do is say yes. Junho looked at Imani. At her face. At the fear she was trying to hide. Then he looked at Shaw. I need time to think about this. You have 24 hours. Tomorrow night. Same time. Same place. You give us your answer. And if the answer is no. Shaw stood. Well, let's hope it's not no. He walked out. The other men followed. Junho and Imani stood alone in the room. What are you going to do? She asked. Junho was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I'm going to say yes. What? I'm going to accept their offer. Become their partner. Give them what they want. Because it's the only way to keep you safe. No, we can fight them. We can. We can't. They're too big, too powerful, too connected. The only way to beat them is to join them. And that's what I'm going to do. And then what? You work for them forever? You become their puppet? You lose everything you built. Yes. All of that. But you live. Malik lives. And that's all that matters. Imani grabbed his face. Made him look at her. That's not fair. That's not right. You can't sacrifice everything for me. I can. And I will. Because from now on, your life belongs to my world. And my world doesn't let people leave. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Final. True. Imani stared at him. Understanding dawning. Horror settling in. What do you mean? Junho's expression was cold. Dead. Like something inside him had broken. I mean, you're part of this now. Part of my world. Part of the criminal underworld. You can never go back to normal. Can never have a regular life. Can never escape what we've done. What we've become. You're in this forever. Just like me. And there's no way out. No. No, that can't be true. We can find a way. We can. There is no way. Once the covenant knows your name, knows your face, knows you exist, you're theirs. Forever. They'll always be watching. Always waiting. Always ready to use you against me. Or against anyone else who matters. You're trapped. Just like me. For the rest of your life. Tears ran down Imani's face. So that's it? That's my future? Running forever? Hiding forever? Never being safe? Yes. And Malik? What kind of life does he have? Whatever life I can protect for him. Which isn't much. But it's better than being dead. Imani pulled away. This is insane. This is survival. This is the world we live in now. This is what happens when you help someone like me. When you ask questions you shouldn't ask. When you see things you shouldn't see. You become marked. Forever. I didn't know. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But it doesn't change anything. From now on, your life belongs to my world. And my world doesn't let people leave. If you made it this far, you're officially part of this story now. Like this video if you want part 2. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because the next chapter is even darker than this one. And I need you to answer this in the comments. Should she stay with him and enter the mafia world? Or should she run before it's too late? Share this story with someone who loves intense dramas. Because trust me, this story is just getting started.